So, welcome. Last Parents Forum of Year 7. Yeah, the next one time I see you will be in person in Year 8 in September, which I can't quite believe that we've got this far already. Today is basically just to go through some key dates. Now that we're coming to the end of the year, we've obviously got a few rewards and celebrations coming up, just to sort of make you aware of what we're doing and what's been ongoing. A little chat about social media and some concerns that we've got with social media, and basically just to reiterate sort of forms of communication and who to communicate and for what reasons. And also, as we get closer to September, you'll probably be thinking about updating uniform and shoes and things like that. Just to sort of like go through a few expectations that we have, because I think students are quite good at convincing parents that some things are allowed when they're not. So it's just to make you sort of really clear on that. But let's start with key dates. The sort of just 3 dates this time. We've got Wednesday, the 16th of July. That's in the last week of term, and that will be on the Wednesday. We will have our sports day. Then on the Thursday, the 17th, we will have our trip, which I'll talk about in a minute, our reward sort of end of year trip, which is usually more of a fun trip that the students get to go on just as a celebration for the end of term. And then the last day of term will be Friday, the 18th of July, and that will be a half day. So we'll tend to finish usually about 12:30, 1 o'clock. So that will be a half day. A few events to look forward to coming up. My favorite of the year, apart from the winter market, is the summer showcase. It is held in school after school, and it is a really great celebration of basically all the students' achievements over the year. So there's lots of musical performances. I think there's drama things going on in the theatre usually, and lots of the sort of GCSE and A-level artwork on display that students have, that they've exhibited for their exams. So it's really great. There's usually a barbecue, and yeah, it's a really good, fun event to go to. So I really, really recommend it. So that's on Friday, the 4th of July, between 5 and 7. So please do come along to that. It's a lovely way to see just like how creative all the students are and how talented some of our students are. It really is fantastic. It's one of my favorite events. So I truly recommend that. Our end of year trip that we will be going to on the 17th is to Roller Nation. You would have had a letter about this already. So this will be in the last week of term. And what will happen is we will take half the year group to Roller Nation, then half the year group will go to, hopefully, weather permitting, a picnic and games in Clissold Park. And then the sort of two groups will swap over. Please, we do need permission via parent pay, and it's really, really useful if you put down sort of any medical needs that might be a concern that your child might need for the day of the trip. There is a slight fee to this trip as well, so it will need to be paid for. So students have been told that students with a high number of behaviour incidences, they do know about this, and tutors have been going through with them about this, won't be attending the trip and be refunded. But please, 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 I urge you to sign up for that trip. And we're all very excited about it. I think the students are quite excited about it. So yeah, I don't think I'll be getting on roller skates. Maybe Mr. Annabelli will. But yeah, we'll see about that. But yeah, they're really keen. It's a really great place to go. It's a really, really good trip. So I'm quite excited about that one. There is also just a reward trip going on next Friday. So Friday the 20th. We're taking the top 30 students with the most achievement points and no behaviour incidents, which is fantastic. Yeah, really, what an achievement. I'm so, so proud. There are unfortunately still some students with no behaviour incidents that didn't quite make it to be the top 30. but they will be getting a treat in school as well that I'm just thinking about and arranging for them. So I think there's about another 12 students that didn't quite sort of make it on the trip. But I think it's a brilliant, brilliant achievement to get this far and have no behaviour incidents is just fantastic. We'll be going to Airhop in Enfield, taking the train from Stoke Newington. You should have had a letter about this if this involves you. So please, can I just remind you to give permissions on parent pay? There's no fee for this trip, but I do need permission for this, and students should have a packed lunch. And we should be back around 3:30, I reckon. Yeah. So it's a trampoline park. It sounds really good fun, and I'm hoping they're really enjoying it. I know some students are really, really looking forward to it. Also, if your child doesn't want to go on the trip but has been offered a place on a trip, of course they don't have to. Please drop me an email then, because then I can give their space to somebody else who's really deserving to be on that trip. We only had 30 spaces to go. So yeah, if your child's not keen to go on it, you think they won't like to come, it'd be really, really good to fill that space with somebody else. So please, please, if they're not keen, please let me know. And then we can sort of offer that space away. But like I said, those students are still students without behaviour incidents that probably feel like they might be missing out. There is going to be a treat for them as well. It's just happened to be that we just had 30 spaces for this particular trip that we'd booked. Rewarding the everyday. So this has been my favourite part of the week. Every Wednesday, one member of each form that has the highest achievement points, I was about to say behaviour incidents, but achievement points, has been getting a 2-day queue jump pass, which has been very successful. It's been really, really great. It's really nice to see different students being rewarded and being quite passionate about trying to get it. It's been really nice thing to do. So that will be continuing every week throughout this term. So we're doing it Wednesday to Wednesday. I am deducting the behaviour incidents from those achievement points. But it's been really nice, and they've been enjoying those queue jump passes for 2 days. So that's great. So that will be ongoing for the rest of this term. So it's just nice to reward different people, and having like short-term rewards, I think is really, really great. And so if they're not on the trip, there's always something that is achievable for them to sort of aim towards. Just in terms of our academic achievements this term for this progress check. So these are sort of our headline figures. We've got, as you know, our reports work as in you're either sort of marked as advanced, secure, developing, or below, where your target is based on your target direction. From our last progress check, we had 193 students out of the 253 that didn't get any red on their report. So that's a huge amount. That's 76%. So everybody, 76% that were developing and above, which is brilliant. Further 32 only got one red. So that's like nearly 90% of the year are doing brilliantly. So that's really great. So everyone is achieving where they should be, and that is fantastic. So we're really, really pleased about that. So if you compare that back to the first report, 64% had no reds in autumn term. So we're getting a big improvement on people sort of being dedicated to their learning and sort of really striving to do best. And it's just showing that like it's a really, really promising start to year 7 and going into year 8. So you will get your PC3 reports in a few weeks, and that will be the final report of the year. We just do the 3 reports, and that will be showing some good sort of results then to take into year 8. Yeah. Year 8, obviously we're going to be talking a lot of the theme around year 8 will be sort of discussing options and things like that, which we'll go into at the next parent forum. So that's really good news. I'm really, really proud of them. So it's a really positive mid-year report. So that's excellent. The next thing is mobile phone use. And this is just a reminder because I feel this is happening quite a lot. The school does have a no phone policy. Yeah, this is what the police recommend we do. You become an ultimate target as soon as you walk out the door and you're picking out your phone, and you're ignoring what's going on around you. A, you're not very safe on the roads and the traffic. B, you're just so oblivious to what's going on around you. And sadly, there are people that look out for students with their phones. Yeah, but you are a target. The police have recommended to us that it is better just not to have them at all. If you don't have them, you can't be a target. So if you do need your child to have your phone, yeah, permission must be gained from Mr. Annabelli and it must be stored in our school safe. One thing we don't do extremely often is to check students for phones, but I'm feeling we're getting to a point where people are bringing them in. This is something that we might need to start doing. Yeah. If you are caught with your phone, it is locked in the safe for a week and not given out until the following Friday, and it has to be given out to an adult. Yes. So I just cannot reiterate enough. Do not bring it in. Kids aren't tempted then to bring it out, and then then there's no issue. I get it. There might be the odd occasion where maybe a student has to go somewhere after school, but you must seek permission for that, and it must be in the safe. These in all social media, I think is just like the worst invention in the world. It's the most unsocial thing in the whole universe. Yeah. These platforms are not allowed for students under 13, which is our entire year group. So TikTok, X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and Facebook. Those are the main sort of, I mean, I don't know whether the kids really use Facebook so much anymore, but anyway, it's really important. It's very tricky for us to monitor this because obviously they're not supposed to have their phones. So much that spills into school stems from this. Yeah. And it becomes quite frustrating because they're not allowed to be on it. Yeah. I cannot urge you enough to monitor their usage of this. Yeah. Because it is proving to be like becoming a big issue. You will get this list. I mean, I think Australia have been really strict about this, and I think that I'd be surprised if we don't follow here with actually a lot of the ages being moved up to 16. And I think it's actually like a big part of it is students like it's a method of communicating that actually, as an 11, 12-year-old or under 13-year-old, it's actually really complicated to read people through writing, like how do you get the sort of like gist of what someone's saying? And this is what causes a lot of arguments and a lot of falling out. And actually, it is a platform to hide behind that you can be quite horrible to people, which unfortunately some people are. So some things that we have noticed that I want to make you aware of. It's come to our attention that actually not all parents are aware when their children are using social media. They are very savvy about how to log on. And actually, one thing that's been coming up is like, oh, they don't have the app. They definitely don't have the app. I checked their phone. They don't necessarily access it through the phone. Yeah, so please be mindful and vigilant about other platforms or devices they might be using, because that has been a case, that has happened. They also, what has happened, I've heard of in other year groups, I haven't heard of this happening in year 7, but they quite often will share a friend's phone, which then opens up to a huge can of worms because then you're actually sharing your personal details. So, like, this friend might have several tabs open from their friend's social medias. All it takes is a falling out, a few screen grabs, and then, like, a lot of their information is out there. I do find they're not really sort of understanding like the sort of consequences of when you publish something, like how public it is and how like you are accountable for those actions. We have just done a huge assembly with them, an emergency assembly yesterday, which is really did sort of like set home, like actually there is a legal responsibility to some of these things, about sort of like harassment and also like impersonation and intellectual property. So they've been spoken to a lot to them about that. And we've had some great conversations today in school following on from that. We are contacting parents when we know things and we have seen that things have happened. We are trying to contact parents just to be as like upfront as we can with everybody to say like, we can see that your child's been using it or leaving comments. However, like a lot of this is happening outside of school. And so like we can only do so much. We really, really need you to be sort of the eyes and ears on the ground on what's going on at home and having those conversations and being open about it and having a being open and honest with them. And I think there's no shame in not realizing that they are on it, or that you didn't think that they were, because actually they are really, really clever with it. They are really, really clever with it. And they've also, and there's a lot of people in the year group where they can find stuff out from. So just one thing just to be mindful of. There is this help sheet. I know it's probably really, really tiny on screen, but it's the same help sheet that I had out before. And actually, you will get sent a copy of this PowerPoint as well, so that if you want to read that, there's some really useful advice about how to have those conversations and things like that. Right, so we are getting to summer holidays, so new uniform buying. I just wanted to reiterate the shoe issue. We at Stoke Newington, we prefer a shoe, please, not a trainer-like shoe. So can you sort of make sure that that any shoes that you do buy, that you follow the sort of guidance. This is on the website, or again, you'll have it in this PowerPoint. But yeah, so make sure it's like a proper shoe, not a trainer type shoe. There's always students try to sort of like bend the rule with this one, particularly as they get older after the school. But they will just be told to change them, and I don't want to have anyone having any unnecessary expense. School uniform, we will still be in white polos and shirts because we are still in lower school for the next year as we go into year 8. But any questions you have on uniform before you sort of invest in it, if you do have any questions, please ask. Even if you ask at admin, somebody can pick that up in the holidays that you can answer. I'd just rather that than sort of anyone spending any money and that's something that wasn't right. Incorrect uniform, just to make you aware, if there is an incorrect, if you've got an emergency, people's shoes do break, trousers do split, this happens. Please send in a note or send an email so that we are aware that you are aware. If this happens, like if a student does just come in the wrong uniform, we will try to send them home before 9 a.m. to try and fix this. We do have a certain amount of spare uniform where we will try and correct it. Yeah, but we don't have everything. Yeah, we don't have every size. So it's not always a possibility. If we are unable to correct it from contacting you or sending them home, then this could mean that they are out of circulation in the on-call room until that uniform is corrected. Yeah, so please do bear that in mind. Uniform is really important to us. I feel that we've got quite, an easy uniform to sort of wear, so therefore we do need to get it right. We are quite adamant about that. Other thing for me, class charts. Keep logging on to class charts to have a look to see how students are doing with all their achievement points and behaviour incidents. It's always really useful if you're having those conversations at home as well as us having them with the students, because it just kind of solidifies that sort of collaboration between us, really. So please do keep checking class charts. I haven't used the announcements feature so much this year, but we probably will be going forward, especially with options and things like that to keep you informed. Communication channels. So if you have anything sort of tutor group related, then please contact the tutors in the first instance. There are the email addresses for each one. There'll be a link on to that takes you to the website with all the heads of departments. So if you have a subject specific question, please go to the head of departments so that you can speak to them about anything. And then any attendance issues or any appointments, please continue to send any medical appointments or screen grabs or, screen grabs of text messages or whatever to attendance at S&S Hackney so that we have that for our records and that will be marked in the correct coding. And I think that is it for me. Did you want to add anything, Mr. Annabelli?
Honestly, no, you've gone through all, to be honest. So it's all good. We could take questions.
Great. Okay, we'll do questions. I don't know if you want to put them in the chat.
Yeah, we will. You could put in chat, you could put up your hand. We're ready to take questions here. Any questions, please? I haven't seen any hand up.
Oh,
Huh? No hand is up.
no, I don't think there isn't.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple now, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so GCSE, that will happen in year 8. We will start the sort of options process. So students will, I can't remember what, Mr. Annabelle, actually, you probably know better than me what the first sort of thing is. Is it the options evening?
I wouldn't worry so much about this. I think just enjoy the year 7. When we get to year 8, there's a lot of time for this.
Yeah.
And the procedure is very thorough. So don't worry so
Yeah,
much
it is.
about this yet. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of activities and things to make sure that students are really aware of what each subject involves and things like that. So you'll get more information in year 8.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure. It just says Jim here. They've not had a consistent teacher all year. We hope so. That is our aim, to have a full-time teaching staff, but that's yeah, I can't really answer in detail about that because I'm not too sure. Obviously, that is our aim. All teachers will change for year 8 as they go into year 8. So they will have different teachers. And yes, we hope that all teachers are full-time. And yeah, that is an aim that we want.
It is. We do apologize for the situation we find ourselves, but honestly, by last September, we were full-time teacher employed. But as Miss said, people go, and then it becomes challenging to appoint. It's a nationwide situation, unfortunately, but we're doing our best. You see. And even most of the lessons we're talking about, like the French, we tend to manage to get what we call specialist subject cover teachers. So it's a very challenging situation within the country as a whole. So it's not only Stoke Newington experiencing this, but we will always do our best. Yeah. What kind of social media issues?
I think Snapchat seems to be the worst one for issues on a day-to-day basis. primarily from sort of starting conversations with each other, and then this whole thing of being able to add other people in, and yeah, it gets all very, very messy. TikTok's also been another one, has been like a bit of a nightmare. But I just think, like, all of them really, they're just not a great way to communicate. And I think they're just really easy for young people to hide behind. So please just be really, really mindful and like not encourage them really. Um, uh,
This year, in terms of French or in terms of shortage of teacher, has not been different. Shortage of teacher is everywhere. If we listen to news, there is shortage of teacher within the country, and every school is doing their best to ensure that we have a fully qualified and full-time teachers teaching your children. Unfortunately, sometimes it does happen. Something to do with computer science teacher. What does that mean?
uh, my son's computer science teacher in his was disappeared.
I don't get it.
Yeah, the thing is, that the issue is we don't always know what the full situation is, but I do take that point on board that that the kids should be spoken to so they have more of a heads up about what is happening. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I will take that on board. I'll feed that to the relevant people. Yeah, in year eight we have a new timetable because like teaching staff may change, departments change. So in year eight, yeah, they will have a brand new timetable with different teachers on it. Yeah, and other subjects like DT we changed completely because they get taught in like more of a carousel rather than just being with the same teacher all year. Yeah, so they will change in year eight.
Any, any
Yeah.
more questions?
Yeah, when do students find out their forms for next year, or do they stay the same? They primarily stay the same. Yeah,
Most forms will remain the same. There will just be few adjustments, but
yeah,
most form, the dynamics remain the same. Obviously, we're watching the forms, and if there's need to move around, we'll do move around. You will be notified,
yeah.
but majority will remain in the same form.
And form tutors will remain the same. Those
Oh,
teachers won't change. Yeah,
okay.
where possible, where
Yeah,
possible. Yeah.
yeah.
Any more questions?
No, no. Okay, because there's no more question, I just want to let parents know that obviously it's not the end of school or summer term until it finishes. So what I'm trying to say regarding uniform is it is not good enough for us to say, oh, because the school we're coming to the end of school year, therefore the child should not have the correct uniform. Unfortunately, the school will end in July at the deadline, but therefore school uniform must be worn throughout, especially shoes. We're getting some notes saying it's end of term. No, it is not end of term. School continued until that July the 20th.
Mr. Medway, there's just a couple of questions actually that I think that we missed.
Okay.
Um,
Is it? Okay, yeah, yeah.
yeah, some students have been moved to other forms of usable behaviour, obviously without saying who can you explain the policy here. I think it is we look at the dynamic of the form, really, and the policy is really to get the most out of the students in an environment where they're going to learn the best. Yeah, I think is the underlying thing is what we're trying to do. Obviously, when we are doing the forms in the first place, they're all done quite relatively randomly. And obviously, there are some dynamics that work better in some groups than they do in others, and we just try and balance that out. Did you want to add anything to that, Mr. Annabelli?
No, that's fine. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. As a school, there's no, I mean, it's not stagnant. We move students around where we feel possible to move, and we constantly monitoring the behavior, the achievement, the progress of every child, and we tend to move students around, especially when we come to end of year, like as we're coming to. So we begin to think what next for year 8. We need to begin to prepare them for year 8. It's a different year. It's more matured. It's no more nurturing. They're now beginning to get more matured. And so the decision will be made in September when they get their new timetable. That's when they will know. But like as I said, if we are to make any move, you will be notified.
yeah, definitely. And I think it's a sort of a fresh start for some students as well,
Yeah.
which is we find really beneficial. We've done this before and it's really worked amazingly. So yeah.
Will they be placed in different groups based on recent assessment? That will be something to do with subject, but they will not. We don't do with. We don't base our movement based on assessments. That will be curriculum, as this is pastoral team. We watch the behavior, the dynamics, and how well your child is doing. That is how we move. But if I don't think there's major movement anyway. If the maths, I don't think so. They don't move that much. So the big move will be when they go into Key Stage 4. But in year 8, it is very, it's the same. Before they make their GCSE options, do they have chance to speak to employers? I wouldn't take, once again, I wouldn't be dragged into GCSE. We are still in year 7. You will have enough information to make, and every child will have enough information to make informed decision. And this is a very rigorous process and very robust. So don't worry about GCSE at all. We will get there, and you will see what we mean. There's enough support, both from employers and everybody. So just enjoy year 7 for now.
Do the Key Stage 3 targets ever get revised? I don't think they do really, do they? I think they stay the same, because then it's when you go into Key Stage 4, it becomes based on predicted grades, which might change slightly.
Yeah. Key Stage 3, we focus on the CAT scores, and therefore that is what we believe in. And then when they move into Key Stage 4, we begin to take into consideration the progress made within these first 2 years in Key Stage 3. So that is when their targets then begin to change. So we tend to stick to the same thing. We want to see progress, more progress, enough evidence to be able to say, yes, we can move or change targets. That enough evidence, these 2 years give us a real robust time to look at things and say, yes, it's time to change your targets. In terms of, it's not real to move the target, except if there's error. We notice error somewhere, but it's not changed. What is that?
Used. Yeah, I think this is this is
long
one.
queues.
Yeah.
Long queues. Well, the thing with long queues is that students do get used to it. It is what it is, and we do our best to make the queue move. Like as I said, this whole year 7 had the privilege of going first to the Bluebird, and in year 8 they will not have that privilege. So in year 8 it will change around, because we'll have the new year 7s who will have the privilege of going. But students mature and get over this, and it's just part of schooling, to be honest. I wouldn't see the possibility. I don't think schools have money to employ more staff or more potting cabinets to sell those things. what are they called?
The
The
pods, yeah,
pods that we don't
yeah,
have. Yeah, we don't.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's, yeah.
yeah.
Mm,
Much taking the time for this afternoon. Thank you, thank you. Do
yeah.
you envisage organizing after-school clubs to prepare for assessment?
That's quite a good question, actually. But I
Yeah,
think because we do have homework club and things
yeah,
like that to help
yeah,
students, where students can get support with
yeah.
homework. I think a lot of our teaching staff goes to, like for the after school thing goes to sort of interventions for year 11. And so I guess that's where like that's I guess a homework club with sort of where there is support is where I would direct them. Actually, to taught sessions, I think because of year 11 with sort of interventions and things like that, and then that quickly moves on to year 10 with mock exams.
Mhm.
So the staff's time's usually taken up with that, which is understandable, really. So yeah, so we don't have after school clubs precisely, unless that's sort of individual teachers. If students want support, there's nothing stopping them talking to their teachers to see if anything can be offered. And most teachers are pretty understanding and quite willing with their time.
Yeah. This launch, pack launch, I wouldn't, I would encourage, look, the queue goes. The queue does go.
It
I
does go,
wouldn't,
yeah.
it does go. Within 20 minutes, students have gone through. I will not, I will, I want parents to understand that it is part of the experience, and I wouldn't want to take that kind of experience from a child. It is just one of those things that students have to also face. I don't believe that it's too um, it's too hard to stay in queue for within the time provided. But I know within 10 minutes a student is served, and it's just the social norm. And a student should also have the time to experience such. I wouldn't take it away. So if it's possible, please just allow your child to experience what is within a community, because it is just what the norm is. When we go to GPs, we stay long to see GPs, and it is just that social, that normality of things, and the queue goes, and every child does um, have access to meal before and still have about 10-15 minutes to spare. So please, please, please uh, encourage your child to use the queue, and they have good what's it called, menu there. So please do encourage your child to use it.
Any more questions? No, I think that might look like it's it.
Yeah. So
Um,
so so I just want to reiterate, please. We don't go to train station because the train is not there. We run away. We need to wait for whatever. We don't go to bus station because the bus is not there. We move away. It's just the norm. We need to have that patience because it does work. Please, yeah.
Okay, great. Well, I look forward to seeing you all in year 8. Can't quite believe it, actually, that this year's like, feel like I blinked and it's all gone. Like, it seems 2 minutes ago that we were just right at the start doing the treasure hunt and all that sort of thing. But anyway, have a good evening and have a good summer if I don't get to speak to you a lot of you beforehand. Okay,
Thank you,
take
guys.
care. Thank
Thanks a
you.
lot.
Bye.